Hello and welcome to Islanders Anxiety from Lighthouse Hockey and the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Dan Saracini. Joining me via Zencaster is my friend Michael Leboff. And Mike, while the rest of the hockey world prepares for the final game of the second round of the playoffs, Game 7 against Buffalo and Montreal on Monday, the day everybody's listening to this, we have lots of Islander stuff to get to, believe it or not. And of course, the number one thing to talk about is Matthew Schaefer being awarded the Calder Trophy as NHL Rookie of the Year. It was a unanimous selection, the first unanimous Calder Trophy winner since Teemu Selanne for the Winnipeg Jets version 1.0, 30-something years ago. By now, everybody's seen the emotional presentation on Good Morning America with his dad and his brother and his adopted family, the Martins. And of course, where's the first place? He takes the trophy to the Children's Hospital ward that bears his mother's name at Northwell Medical Center. Thanks to a generous donation from the Islanders, it is now the Jennifer Schaefer Child Support Center. I don't know what else there is to say about this young man. There's just it's a weird situation to be in as a podcast host that you have to keep talking about somebody, but I don't know what else we can say about Matthew Schaefer at this point that hasn't already been said. On the ice, off the ice, postseason now with the awards. I mean, it's not a shock to anybody that he won the Calder or that it was unanimous, but for him to take it to the Children's Hospital and again, the emotional, outpouring afterwards is just unbelievable. And I mean, I took in all these videos and just kind of sat back and was like, holy cow, I can't believe this guy is a New York Islander. It's unbelievable.
He told us it's weird to think, but almost a year ago to the day, he basically showed us who he was.
Mm-hmm.
There was like the NHL draft combine, and he was scheduled to, I don't know what it was, like meet with a bunch of teams, and he blew them off because he was like, no, I'm gonna go talk to a group of kids who've
Right.
lost parents, and we're in this grief counseling charity or non for profit, and that's how he spent his time ahead of the combine. And at that point, um, he was a consensus number one pick, but also there were a couple people, I don't know who, but there were definitely a couple people who wanted the Islanders to go in a different direction. But there were also some draft grifters and prospect perverts out there who thought that there were some serious question marks about whether Schaefer was a home run number one pick because he had only played 17 games. He just come off a broken collarbone, missed so much time. Just there wasn't enough of a, what would you call it? Like enough of a highlight reel. I don't know what you would call it, but
Yeah, there just wasn't enough tape on him
right.
that
Yeah,
season,
exactly. And you'd think that if that was the case and you had the chance to be the number one overall pick, you'd be like, well, I got to make sure that I tick every box at these, the combine. And instead, he went the other direction and ticked every box as like a genuinely good human being, and that's what he did. And there's so many like platitudes and cliches thrown about in professional sports, not just hockey, when young players who are coming into a league are described, and there's people always make sure to say, not only a good player, but one of the best people like in the game, right? Like there's always that. And when you hear it, you sometimes kind of like you roll your eyes because they say it about everybody. But when it comes to Schaefer, I don't even think anyone says it because they're just like it's almost insulting, to just
Right.
like slap him with a cliche, because it's nothing he's done on and off the ice has been cliche. Like he is so far from a cliche, and I think that's part of what has taken it's taken so long in my brain to just like get used to the fact that not only is he an Islander, but he loves being an Islander. He gets what it's all about, and he's so goddamn good at
Yeah.
being an Islander, that it's like hard to wrap your head around. And then you watch something like this, and you're just reminded that this is possible for like people to act like this.
Right.
And it's crazy to think that, right? Like how Sidney Crosby is talked about in
Mm.
Canada is, I mean, Matthew Barzal missed the World Championships and Crosby replaced him this week.
Yeah.
And like Pierre LeBrun basically was sobbing into his T-shirt. Like you're running out of words to describe, what Sidney Crosby means, right?
Yeah.
That's, I think, literally what he tweeted. And
I, I posted on Blue Sky that there have been many stories in the NHL that I have could muster not one iota of a shit about in the many years that I've been on social media. Who should captain Team Canada at the Worlds? Should it be Macklin Celebrini or Sidney Crosby? Has rocketed to the top of that list. I could not give less of a
Oh
shit
my
about this,
god.
and I can't imagine anybody does.
Do you
Who
think Sidney?
cares?
Yeah. Do you think Sidney Crosby did? He's probably like, "What the hell are they talking
I
about?
know, right?
These guys are so weird. Like, why is
Exactly.
why is Pierre LeBrun rumbling through my
Yeah.
trash right now?" Um, but like when you hear the name Sidney Crosby, or when Canadians hear it, or and they talk about it, there's this like weird veneration, and it's always I don't like Sidney Crosby as a hockey player. I've got no idea what he's like as a person. I know that people speak the world of him, but to see it happen in front of your eyes, where with Schaefer, you're like, if this is what Sidney Crosby has been doing in like the background of playing, like I would be like, you know what, like I've been wrong this whole time, right? Like,
Right.
because
Yeah.
this is it's astonishing to watch, but I don't think he is, because I don't think that there's anybody who's walked into a sport in this way, right? Like, this is,
Right.
have you ever heard of any athlete across any sport walk into like the professional, the elite, top level in this fashion? I can't think of one, and
No.
because this is totally unique, and it's continuing to be unique, and you'd think you'd kind of not like I don't want to say get sick of it, but like you'd feel like the novelty of these unbelievable stories would, and like acts of genuine kindness would like wear off on you, but they actually like complement one another and build and build and build. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and he's 18, or
Yeah.
so like that's the craziest thing. So like he's already got
Right.
this head and this heart as an
Yeah.
and this skill set as an 18-year-old. Boy, man, that I'm gonna make a prediction right now. Um, the Pope, who's American, will be in an
Mm.
Islanders game, because like this guy Matthew Schaefer is like very cool. He's like they're like neck and neck, I feel like,
Right.
in terms of closest to heaven on the planet right now.
Yeah. I will say this: if you're right, and the Pope does come to an Islanders game, I think we can safely unseat Shakira as the number
Yeah,
one
yeah,
celebrity,
yeah, yeah,
surprise celebrity at an Islanders game. Sorry, Shakira, you've been
yeah.
bumped for the
Just
Pope. I think she's Colombian; she would get it,
yeah.
obviously. But like, yeah, no, that's my thing too. And like, obviously, listen, we saw what the kid did on the ice. We're seeing what he's doing here. It's amazing. Again, he takes it to the children's hospital. The kids are all there looking at the trophy. He's making the rounds. He's smiling. It's just phenomenal. Again, the Islanders donate $150,000 to the hospital. It's got ladybugs on the wall because that's symbolic of her to him. And he gives this whole very emotional interview to Good Morning America. His dad and his brother show up. The Martins are there. His girlfriend is there. The kids are there. Everybody's there. Everybody's crying. It's a whole thing. It's kind of crazy. And meanwhile, before that, I love the whole setup, like the whole kind of like clandestine setup of the whole thing, where like his dad said that he was sleeping in the same hotel room like 12 floors above him, and he had to pretend like he was he couldn't answer his phone or whatever. It's like, oh, I can't get my FaceTime's not working. Meanwhile, he's just like right there. But before that, Sydney Esiason had taken him shopping at Belmont Village, and like I was kind of prepared to make fun of it, like, congrats on winning the Calder, but also congrats on being like one of the few people who can shop at Belmont Village. Cause like, so he can just walk into the John Valvado store and just buy stuff, it's like, I don't know if I can really pull that off, but he can. But then, you see all this happen and you're just like, you can't, there's no amount of cynicism that can penetrate this. Like it just can't. And, I'll be honest, just me personally, I do worry about what he does for an encore next year. I'm worried if he is 10 points off of what he did this year. People are going to be like, that's it. He peaked, trade him, because that's the way this fan base acts sometimes. And, and I'm also thinking like, what is he going to do for an encore? I mean, he's already got a wing at a children's hospital that he's, engineered.
Right.
Like, is he going to spend the summer, like, instead of going to training camp, he's going to build houses for Habitat for Humanity? Like, I don't know what's next for this guy. And I
Right.
do kind of worry, like, geez, I hope not so much getting sick of it, but like, geez, what is he going to do next? But I'm not even gonna like that stuff is just my brain being stupid.
Yeah.
Like I just at this point, you just have to take this kid for everything he's done. And it's just, and yes, we can and we will hash out the roster and do this move and that move and the coaches and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. But like ultimately, there is one shining light in the middle of all of this. And it is a man who, an 18-year-old kid who is above reproach. There is nothing we can say to nitpick or, criticize anything he's done at any point this season since the Islanders took him. And it's Matthew Schaefer. And it's just unbelievable. And, it's funny that like winning the Calder Trophy, which is a big deal, almost seems kind of secondary to all of this. He's now the sixth Islander to win it. The third defenseman, obviously, after Dennis Potvin and Brian Berard, and the first since Barzell and everything. And it's just like he's joining an incredible list of guys, and it almost seems like, yeah, that's of course. Why wouldn't he be on a list with Mike Bossy and Brian
Right.
Trottier? Like, of course he is, because that's just it's funny it almost feels kind of natural that he's here, and it's also funny too. I saw some people being like, why would they give it to him now? Why not wait until the NHL awards show? And it's like, well, first of all, you're probably not watching the NHL awards show because nobody watches the NHL awards show, number one. So he's got a bigger audience on Good Morning America, I'm sure. Number two, they obviously this whole thing was set up and he could do all this, with his dad and everything. And that's great. But number three, also, like, as a unanimous winner, I feel like it almost would have been a little bit insulting to Ivan Demidov and Beckett Seneca, who had great seasons, make no mistake. But it's like you're creating, the whole thing about award shows is you're creating this tension of like, oh, who's going to be the winner? And then he wins it. And it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, you guys never had a chance. Like, he got all 1,980 points. By the way, 1980. That's very cool, too. But I just thought it would be kind of funny if they were at the,
Right.
like, oh, who's going to win it? Oh, no, you guys were never going to win it. So he won it. So just give it to him. It's fine. Good publicity for everybody. And again, we just get to see more magic from Matthew Schaefer. It's unbelievable. It's I've said it now 15 times in the first 12 minutes of this show that it's unbelievable. But he really is. Like you said,
Yep.
it's just we've never seen anything like this.
No, I don't think it. I don't. And like I said, I don't think there has been anything like this in any sport because there have been wonderful people who have come into and played professional sports, but
Yeah.
I don't think that they've been as wonderful on the ice like he has and off the ice at the same time, right? This isn't like Dave Scatcherd doing this kind of stuff and being like, yeah,
Right.
like great player, gets the puck deep, works his tail off, and is also just an unbelievable guy on off the ice. This
Right.
is the best player, like probably the best player in terms of like trade value in the league right now. Is also doing this. So yeah, it's incredible. I know, I'm trying really hard to couch the cynicism about the Belmont Park Village thing, but boy, that was because it was such a nice moment, and to then see it be like, oh god, this is great, and not one, not two, but three people had a great point to me on just via text message because people were like texting me the video, which was like, I love that they have all these close-up shots of Schaefer to make sure that nobody could see how empty everything is behind him. You can't see the tumbleweeds coming around, but
people working at the John Varvato store like, holy shit, somebody's coming in.
Yeah,
what,
God.
Hold on, yeah, we'll crew with them.
Yeah, we'll come and open up. We didn't we weren't going to open today because we just
Right.
I've never heard of John Varvato before either, too. So I was like, what? Yeah, it was classic Islanders because or this current version of the Islanders, because there's all this concern about getting people in seats and making the Islanders bigger. I'm like, you don't need to do any work with this kid. Like he could have, you could have just sent him into Wendy's beforehand and it would have, it wouldn't have mattered, because he's just, you don't need, what do you need to do? You just let him show up and open his mouth and we all swoon because of what he's doing. And we all then finish watching the video or listening to him speaking. We're like, I'm going to be a better person today too.
Yep.
That's the best part of it. It's just, I love Matt Barzell to death, but I don't think I've ever watched Matt Barzell we'll talk about it, a Matt Barzal video in a little bit, but I don't think I've ever watched him play or do an interview or something afterwards and been like, yeah, no, I got to be kind. I got to be more
Yeah.
kind, to people. And
Yeah.
this happens with Schaefer on a regular basis. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm happy they got the Belmont Park villages in there. I passed them on the Cross Island Parkway yesterday, and I just shake my head and laugh at it because like I drove by on a Saturday afternoon at like 2 o'clock, and like the parking lot is just empty, which is you'd think on a beautiful day people would want to be strolling in and out of those
Right.
stores in a place like that, but
Nope.
no, it's not. But yeah, that's not the story here.
No.
The another cliche would be running out of things to say, right?
Mm.
About Matthew Schaefer, but I don't know if that's going to be possible because he's just going to keep
Yeah.
providing stuff for us to be like, wow, that
Yeah.
was, and when the Pope does show up to give him whatever, silver stick is for 1,000 games,
Mhm.
whatever, what was that called? The mitre the Pope has when he like gives him a
I
mitre,
have I
you
have
know,
no idea.
or maybe he gives him like a little commemorative hat that they'll sell on Isles Lab for, you know, but
Yeah,
it's
blue and orange Pope hat with like rhinestones on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That'd be
Uh,
really funny. It's funny you mentioned Barzell. Real quick, we have a ton of other stuff to get to, but very quickly, when you mentioned Barzell, it made me think like the closest really analog to Schaefer would be Anders Lee, who of course is a great player and started the foundation and the GM Cancer and all the Fenov tribute stuff that he's done, and he's just done a wonderful stuff in the community, and he's great, and obviously he's been a great player for the Islanders. He's already the fourth leading scorer in team history. He could be the third if he re-signs and scores a few more goals to pass Dennis Potvin. But with all due respect to Anders Lee, he doesn't do on the ice what Schaefer does. And I feel like he'd probably be the first person to say
yeah,
that they're complete apples and oranges in terms of players. As great as Lee is, he doesn't really do the things that Schaefer does. And it is funny too, like the Belmont Village thing is kind of a cynical thing. I did have a dip into the cynicism pool as well myself. Schaefer was on TNT doing like an intermission show bit. Actually, I think he came on maybe before the game on Wednesday. And kudos to Liam McHugh, of course, the Long Island guy is the only one to ask like an actual good question of Schaefer and get a really good answer.
Listen, I'm a Long Island guy, and I talk to people back home all the time, and they love watching you play because you're electrifying. But I think they also love you just being a part of this team because it feels like you made Long Island home, and you feel like one of them. So they embrace you at a different level, and I think you can feel that. And I saw that today. You took the Calder Trophy, and you visited a hospital, and those images were incredible, and it was emotional. But I want to know more about the Jennifer Schaefer Child Support Center that you and the Islanders and local hospitals are putting together.
Yeah, so it's with Northwell Health, and I mean they've been awesome just from the start. When I was doing team visits for Christmas and bringing gifts for kids, when they're in the hospital around Christmas. I knew from that point on that Northwell was just all about families, and I knew that this was going to be the right people for me to be with and help do the things that I want to do to help all these kids and families in need. And yeah, I mean it's so cool to think about. It's probably one of the coolest things that I'm doing. And just being able to have, a room in my mom's name for, family and kids that can go, and it's more of a fun space. There's a lot of color on the walls. There's like a hockey mat where it shows like the rink, and it's just more of a cozy space when people need to go to a safe place to wait and chill and rest a bit. So yeah, it's a room away from the hospital, which is kind of a good thing where when you go in it, hopefully you don't feel like you're in a hospital. You feel more you feel more joy, and you feel more at a safe space. So it's going to be so cool. And I mean, like I said, I know my mom would be pretty proud. I mean, I walked in to just look at the room before they started to do the renovations, and they put ladybugs all over the room because I know ladybugs was a big thing I saw I saw when my mom passed, and pictures of her. So I'm just so excited to do it, and it's gonna be pretty cool when I can talk to my mom one night late, and I can just go visit her and just be like, there's a room in your name out of the hospital that helps kids and families in need. And I mean, it is so sad because I get to go to these hospitals and bring the Calder and experience it with all these kids that may never get a chance like I did. And it's so sad because this one girl came up to me today, and she had no hair, and she lost all her hair due to cancer and chemo. And she came up to me and she wanted to tell me that she's ringing the bell today. And it's like it just goes like so much of a far away in life. Hockey can step aside, but man, when you hear that, it's just like, wow. So I ended up giving her 5 hugs, and she's probably like, stop hugging me, you know what I mean? So yeah, things like that definitely have a soft spot to my heart, and being able to experience it with all these kids today was awesome.
The other guys, not so much. And I had to hear not just Paul Bissonnette, but Anson Carter as well call him Schaefer Daddy on TV, and my eyes almost both independently rolled out the back of my head. And I go, yo, Schaefer Daddy, it's Biz. And then he asks a dumb question, and then, yo, Schaefer Daddy, it's Ace. Anson, come on, you're one of the smarter guys here. What are you doing? Like, can we act a little bit like adults here for a minute? And then Chris Chelios asked some kind of crazy thing too. So, but no, it was the McHugh interview question was fine. The rest of it was, we don't really need to hear. But again, I was a little bit like, really, we're doing this, but. Anyway, congratulations to Matthew Schaefer for having, maybe the most insane season we've seen in a long time, and getting all the accolades and awards well deserved for it. And can't wait to see what he does for an encore. But we have a lot of other stuff to get to, and so we can keep with the defensive alignment with the Islanders and talk about a less happy story, I guess, and that's Ryan Pulock undergoing shoulder surgery. This was in the Post by Ethan Sears. I had no idea. There were times this season when Pulock didn't look 100%. Maybe this was the case. He should be ready for training camp, so that's good news, I suppose. But I had no idea this guy was having a shoulder issue. Did we know that before? Did I just forget?
He got hurt. Like, he missed a couple games, like towards the end. And right around this, either like right before or right around the same time, Tony DeAngelo got hurt, I want to say. Yeah. And then he came back and looked, frankly, just terrible. And looked, him and Carson Soucy looked like they basically were the same player. So you could say, like, you could kind of put those things together. It's a tough one, right? He's not going anywhere. He's right. Pretty much entrenched here on the island, and I don't know what you'd really get back for him with his contract and age and where he's at his career. But they're now in a spot where between him, Mayfield, we said it even before this season, right? They're sort of redundant at this point, and you essentially would want one of them to be your bottom pair, but you got both of them, and then there's the Adam Pelech stuff that's going around. If they're going to trade anyone on the blue line, he's the one who would bring something back. Sure. You'd think so. But it's worried. That injury then makes you worried. You're like, well, if he's coming in, if he was just hurt, and he was someone who had injury issues earlier in his career, you're thinking, boy, I mean, and I know handedness, they're opposite hands, but then you trade Pelech, you're like, well, with him coming back from an injury, Romanov coming back from an injury, Scott Mayfield being Scott Mayfield, who knows if DeAngelo's back, and then it's, basically running Schaefer we just talked about, but like, whether it's Isaiah George or one of the younger guys coming up, your blue line, which was already in not great shape, is looking desperate. So yeah, I mean, they've got it. Just when I saw that, I was just like, yeah, they got a lot of work to do here. Yeah, and both they have to bolster a blue line and find a way to eject a bunch of bodies off of the forward corps. Yeah. Because for some reason they added more of the same player to the forward group. So
right. Well, it's the second verse, same as the first. Like, we've been talking about this now since the season ended. Like, it's not about just acquiring new guys; it's getting rid of some of the guys that are here. To be quite blunt. And yeah, this is, where Matthew Darche still has a ton of work to do. And, it's the off season right now. I'm sure they're working on something, but I don't know what that means. And, some guys just don't seem like they're going anywhere. And like you said, Pelech is the easiest to move and to get stuff. And every time I'm like, oh, maybe the Sharks want to trade the second overall pick. What? I'm like, really? That would be interesting. Oh, the Oilers need defensive help now that they've fired their coach because they didn't get a good goalie last. Really? Oh, Connor McDavid and Adam Pelech are tight from their years in Erie. Really? Is that so? So I don't know. We'll have to see where that goes. But one change that was made that might impact the defense, we have no idea, is that Rocky Thompson is getting called up from Bridgeport to be an assistant coach under Peter DeBoer. Thompson in 1 year at Bridgeport led the team to the playoffs, one of the better seasons they've had in a long time. Of course, it's their last one in Bridgeport before they moved to Hamilton. Not surprising, I don't think necessarily, but there was some, there was a lot of kind of talk that Thompson is close with John Tortorella. Should Tortorella get a permanent job with Vegas? Obviously, they're still playing now. Maybe he would end up out there. Who knows? But whatever. The Islanders jumped on it, made him an assistant coach. Probably not the worst idea in the world. I don't know what that means I guess Bob Bugner is still around. I haven't heard about anybody else leaving. So we'll have to find out. But I thought this was pretty good news. I mean, Rocky Thompson definitely got a lot out of the Bridgeport guys. And obviously some of those guys are going to be coming up, hopefully, to the Islanders in coming up in the next couple of months, or maybe even as early as training camp. And which is probably going to be run by him like it was last year. So I know that this is pretty cool. I don't know if it took people by surprise necessarily, but this is a classic sort of Islanders move. That's like, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't really see it coming. And then, you got a lot of people being like, wow, this is stupid. Why would they do this? Why not do that? Dude, it's fine. Like, I'm sure it's fine. Anything on Rocky Thompson being named Islanders assistant coach? Again, I haven't seen anybody get let go, so I don't know. They're just going to add. Oh, I guess Benoit Delorier was let go. I don't know if we talked about. Yeah, we did talk about that last time. So yeah, that makes sense. He's probably taking Delorier's spot.
That's right. Yeah, and between him and Bob Bugner on the staff, the Islanders have, if Bugner is still around, which you said we think he is.
Yeah,
they've got a pretty tough group.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
Let's go get Chief. Chief is looking for work. We can go get Berube, right. And we got if Pete DeBoer wants to go Patrick Waugh status and try to fight another coach or something, or he'd be backed up by some guys. Yeah, but I mean, it seems like he did a okay job in Bridgeport. I wouldn't know. Really, like I don't know. They got to the playoffs and seemed to rally as a group. So yeah, who knows? I don't know his. I guess he's going to come in and how Bugner was running the defense, so I don't know what Thompson's jobs will he just add more face-off knowledge for like Benoit Desrosiers, but right. Or I don't know, teach people how to fight and not just fight, but get the perfect picture. I mean, if you look at Rocky Thompson's Google images, there's some amazing pictures of him mid fisticuffs out there, especially from his Flames days. So
did I call him Benoit Delorier again? I meant Desrosiers.
Yeah, it's all right. They're all right.
I called him Delorier last time. Well, no, because I'm the guy who keeps getting mad at people who can't pronounce Bugner. So I can't be out here mispronouncing Desrosiers' name by calling him Delorier. So I gotta be on top of that. But anyway,
that's okay. Yeah, but so yeah, I mean, who knows, and we'll see what this means going forward. All I know is I don't think he ran the Flyers power play when he was with the Flyers, but they had some historically bad power plays neck and neck with the Islanders under Tortorella. So that's it. That's all I'll say there. I'll leave it at that. So I just hope that he's not doing that, but and we'll see who ends up. They didn't say anything about who's going to end up coaching Bridgeport, right? Did they?
No.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, obviously it'll be Hamilton.
Hamilton, yeah. Well, that's that. I was still calling them the Sound Tigers, so I'll catch up to calling them Hamilton, whatever. Yeah. By 2029, 2030, I think.
Yeah. I'm guessing they'll name a coach around the time they name a name, which they have also not named yet. So, but yeah, no, we'll see. I mean, maybe he didn't want to move to Hamilton. I don't know. It's possible as well. But yeah, big changes coming. But yeah, I mean, listen. We're not going to pretend to know the inner workings of the Bridgeport operation. Obviously, we have not done a ton of research going on down there, but they made the playoffs under this man, which is more than they can say for, most of the guys that came before him. Brent Thompson, I think, made the playoffs, twice in his 10 years as a head coach. So, and again, they got a lot more, but they had a lot more talent this year than they had in years past. So amazing what that happens when you inject talent and some care into the minor league operation. But anyway, congrats, Rocky. We'll see what's going, what he's got to offer. And listen, if he can make anything out of the Islanders power play, which has been dreadfully awful for as long as I can remember, even more power to him. So we'll see what happens. Okay, a couple more things here. A few more things actually. Danny Nelson going on. You mentioned Matt Barzal not going to the Worlds because of an injury issue. He's having that sorted out, but Danny Nelson is going to actually represent Team USA at the Worlds right now, which are on YouTube. I guess the games are being broadcast on YouTube, which is kind of cool. I don't know if it's on a delay or something. Ask me if I remember to watch any of them. Of course, I have not. But that's still pretty cool. And I thought it was kind of neat to see Danny Nelson going to the Worlds. I didn't expect that, but good to get some reps under him as well. And on the same note, another young guy who we might be seeing a lot of soon, and this comes from Stefan Rosner at the Elmonters, and that is that the Islanders are going to bring Hagens home. Not James Hagens, Michael Hagens, his brother, who's going to be at Islanders development camp this year. Listen, we just spent 15 minutes talking about how great Matthew Schaefer is. We love Matthew Schaefer. We've been over this a ton. Something that still excites me about bringing A. Hagens to Islanders development camp. I still think this is pretty cool. And when I saw this, I got kind of irrationally excited for development camp all of a sudden. Like, oh, shit, this is awesome. Because I was wondering, I think I made a joke at one point, like, there is another Hagens. Like, they could still bring A. Hagens in. Just wouldn't be James, at least, without a big trade with the Bruins. But I thought this was pretty cool. Did you hear this? Did you read the story here from Stefan? And what did you make of it? And listen, it's just development camp. Like, we've seen a lot of guys come in and just do development camp, but I think I don't know if he's draft eligible or maybe he's a free. He still has a couple of years to go in college, Michael Hagens. So I don't know what this means specifically, but it is pretty cool that he's going to come to development camp, at least to me anyway.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool, for sure. And it's just, we made a pretty, especially you, like, we talked a lot about Keith Kincaid, just like being in the organization, right, and how nice it was. And so, yeah, it's I think something the Islanders should do. Think about what has how galvanizing it was to see Marshall Warren, right?
Right.
Just like, make his way through the ranks and play. And there's, that we've talked about it quite a bit. Like, the Islanders, the grassroots part of being an Islanders fan is incredibly powerful, and it's a lot of what draws Islander fans in to begin with. It's it's Long Island's team, and the more you lean into that, the better. And so I think that if it's doing something like this, or signing guys from college ranks to fill out like the ECHL and AHL kind of depth spots from Long Island, I would much rather see them go in that direction. If like they're deciding between two players and one of them's got local ties and one of them doesn't, like make those decisions. So yeah, it's nice. It's probably not going to have a huge impact on the Islanders' Stanley Cup chances at any time, but it's right. It's a good story, and I think also a nice kind of just like nod to the family as well, like what happened last year and kind of how it shook out. It feels like a pretty, like a genuinely nice thing to do for them, which is, hey, yeah, we made the right decision, despite what those two guys on Islanders Anxiety said before the draft. Like, I think we made the right decision with the Schaefer guy, but
right.
We still like really appreciated how passionate the family was about the team. And so who knows, maybe, he gets a cup of coffee with, are they staying in Worcester? The Railers?
I have no idea. No, I think it'll be at
no, I mean, like, if maybe he plays for the Worcester Railers and the Hamilton Havocers or whatever.
Yeah.
And, he's just like kind of part, gets to be a part of the organization, and who knows what happens from there. I mean, Kyle McLean Kyle McLean has played a lot of games for the New York Islanders, and nobody thought that Kyle McLean was going to be an NHL player when he started playing in the ECHL. So you never know how these things shake out, 5-6 years from now. But yeah, it's a good story. One that brought a smile to my face.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool too. And yeah, I mean, listen, Keith Kincaid is a perfect shout out because we all thought he was going to get some AHL time or whatever, and he did not. That was his only appearance with the Islanders, was at rookie camp, where of course he wasn't a rookie at the time either. So we don't know what's going to happen, but I just thought it was kind of cool. And like you said, I mean, obviously the attempt at acquiring the pick to take Higgins is well documented now by the Islanders themselves, and it just didn't happen that way. And so everybody knows what's up. But if Michael wants to come in and this is also good for him too. I mean, I feel like this is a way to kind of like, I don't know how much in the shadow of James he is, but this is a good way to like kind of establish himself as his own player and see what he can do. And listen, none of us had heard of Daniel Prokhorov before training camp last year or, development camp last year. And the next thing you know, he's everybody's favorite, prospect. Like we couldn't wait to see this guy in action, like out there, kind of like a wrecking ball. So that it can go a long way for, like you said, the grassroots, connection here with particularly with prospects is very strong. And so you put up a good performance in development camp, and next thing you know, people are putting bumper stickers on their car saying to bring you home. So you never know. It'll be a lot of fun. But anyway, I thought that was a cool story. It pops up and you're like, oh, that's neat. I want to see that happen. So yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. I guess development camp is actually probably around the corner. It's usually in June or July. I guess it's right after the draft. So we'll see, because that's where Schaefer played last year. So that was pretty cool. Also pretty cool. And we alluded to it before. You sent this to me. Other people sent this to me. There are places you kind of expect to see the Islanders. A lot of times we don't see them there. And there are places you don't expect to see the Islanders, and you do see them there. One of those places is the Wall Street Journal. And this isn't like like a financial type story, like, oh, the NHL, franchise valuations that we just made up out of thin air. This wasn't like that kind of thing. This was an article or a video really about how chess survived the AI reckoning and how online chess websites where people can play and, get better and get world rankings are battling against AI bots that are frankly ruining it for everybody. Well, this person, Danny Roch, is like the, master, like the, I guess, editor or whatever at chess.com. And as he's explaining how they're fighting back against this stuff, he is playing chess blindfolded against an opponent. He is blindfolded. He calls out the moves, and a guy sitting at the table who's also a chess master actually moves the physical pieces. The opponent in this game against this blindfolded chess master is none other than New York Islanders forward Matthew Barzal. Which is kind of a mind-blowing thing. And like they mention him, they call him NHL All-Star Matt Barzal. He's I don't know. I didn't get a look at the rest of the room. He's clearly the best looking guy in the room, and he's just wearing like a white t-shirt. And he's there, and he's they ask him how he started playing. Turns out he and Anders Lee went to Vegas. That must have been for the media thing last year, where the preseason media stuff for them. And they started playing chess. Of course, Anders kicked the crap out of him because Barzal, I don't think, really knew what he was doing. But he's so ultra competitive that he has been like learning chess this whole time. And now apparently he's pretty good. And the guy, Danny Roch, kept saying like, Matt's really good. Like he keeps making these moves that I'm like trying to like counter against. So I posted this at the Patreon, and I said it there too. Like I would have an easier time following this if these guys were playing Mario Kart or Street Fighter 6. Like I don't understand chess. But from what I can tell, Barzal was doing a pretty good job. So you sent this to me. You must have found this uproariously funny that like A, an Islander is in the Wall Street Journal. B, he's playing chess against a blindfolded chess master. I think is actually really it's one of the funniest things we've seen in a long time.
It wasn't even the Wall Street Journal, really, right? It was like this, like it's one of these dime a dozen corporate panel fest. I don't even know.
Yeah, it was like a TED Talk type of thing.
Yeah, very strange. Like Anthony Anderson was one of those. Like,
I love him.
I know, but it's just funny when you look at like the list of dignitaries that were attending this corporate retreat or something.
Right.
about like the future and all this stuff, and you just scroll and scroll, and you're like, okay, it's weird. Anthony Anderson, okay, that's a little strange. Editor in chief of like Wired, I guess that makes sense. That's
Right.
kind of the person. Matthew, what? Because yeah, I just see his face first. You're like, what? That's
Right.
that guy. That's Matthew Barzal. And yeah, as you said, like you just don't expect to see the Islanders in these places. First thing I thought was, I cannot believe that the Islanders didn't set this up themselves and like do a huge push on it with how, you know, much they've been trying to sink their teeth into getting the word out about the New York Islanders, this
Right.
hockey team, this new emerging power in sports and brand awareness. It just happened. The Islanders didn't even nod to it. I didn't even see them, post or repost it. Maybe they're a little salty that he went rogue. But so that was my first thought. My second thought was, what an impressive person Matt Barzal is. When
Right.
you think about what his reputation is around the league, I think if you were to ask an Ottawa Senators fan, Matt Barzal, like the first thing you'd come to mind, they'd probably be like, all flash, style over substance kind of player, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. He's such a he's like a polymath, like
Right.
when he's obviously an incredibly good hockey player. I'm pretty sure he's a great lacrosse player growing up too. As you said, he's as we always say, he's very, very handsome. Picked up guitar.
I was gonna say, I mean, he goes into the bubble, and next thing you
Yeah.
know, he's learning guitar from Jordan
Yeah.
Eberle, just for fun.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and just before, not the past training camp, but the one before that, I believe, was in like was playing in like a Tom Petty tribute band at Still Partners in Seacliff, and like people are like, yeah, he just like kind of pops up from now and then
right.
on the North Shore and just like shreds and then goes home and plays golf, which is
Of course.
everybody does in the league, but also this chess thing. And his answer was great because he's like, I'm really into kind of like try like that, using that part of his brain basically. And this
Right.
is we it's been a while since we made mention of this, but there was an interview with him a few years ago when he signed with the Islanders and talked about how he had like a ton of respect for being a one jersey player, and had a conversation with Lou Lamoriello about that, and how him and Lou kind of see sports and through a similar lens. And Barzal was like, I kind of want to go that same route as Lou. Like he wants to be something like that and get into the front office. And when you hear him kind of talk through this kind of stuff, you're like, it makes perfect sense. And the we've heard throughout his career that like him and Anthony Beauvillier are in like the back of the bus making mock trades around trade deadline time. And when the Islanders won the first overall pick in the lottery last year, he called Casey Zizekas, was like, this changes everything for us and the trajectory of the franchise. So yeah, I mean, he's just like, yeah, a completely, he's a cool cat, like he is.
Right.
I think he's probably, it sounds crazy to say about someone who's making whatever he's making, $9 million a year to play hockey, but I feel like he was born in the wrong era. If he was born in like 19 and was like in his prime in like the 1930s or 40s, he'd be doing some cool shit like working at NASA or something, and developing some stuff that really changed the world. And maybe he's still gonna go that route. Maybe he becomes the best chess player in the world. But yeah, I mean, this was a weird place to see an Islander pop up, which we love, and we'll definitely be sure to be talking about this forever now. Just like we do with him playing the guitar, and when other guys have done stuff like this, it kind of
Right.
just becomes part of the zeitgeist. So it was a welcome addition to the Islander zeitgeist, was Matt Barzal giving a TED talk about AI and chess. And it was great because it came on the heels of the Leaf stuff with the AI in the trade deadline room.
Right. Well, I mean, and also just like, it's not that he's doing a TED talk, it's that he's like playing against a blindfolded man
Yeah.
who's like,
Yes.
the editor or whatever, or like CEO of chess.com. Like, it's insane that this whole thing is happening. Like, it's crazy. This is not a normal situation, like, at all. And again, these Islanders pop up in weird places, but this is easily one of the weirdest places we've ever seen an Islander pop up. So, and it was pretty cool. Again, I wish I knew chess so I could, like, kind of be like, oh, he was doing well. He kept saying he was doing good, so I'm gonna have to take him at his word. But the opponent anyway. But I thought it was pretty funny to watch, and it's not. I gotta be honest with you, it's not the most riveting thing in the world to watch. Maybe if it is, if you're a fan of chess, but I skipped to the parts where I saw Barzell because I didn't need to hear about the chess parts. Like, I just wanted to see the Barzell parts. But no, I thought it was really, really neat. And it's just, again, whenever I get sent the same thing by a bunch of different people, it always cracks me up. It's just like, this is a thing people noticed and they thought of me. So I kind of like that. So
yeah, we'd have to. We have a mailbag episode coming up. We'd have to put out to think about if this is the weirdest place to see an Islander pop up in like these kind of situations, because it's hard to think about another one. There's certainly been some strange ones, but I can't come up with one that's kind of more bizarre than this,
as unlikely as as this one. So it was a weird one. But anyway, Matthew Barzell, congratulations on see, this is again how you reach out to different audiences. You get people like, I'm sure somebody's in that audience being like, that dude plays hockey, I gotta watch these guys play. Like, this guy plays this is a cool guy. Maybe he made some Islanders fans in there, either because he is a budding chess master, or because he's just a handsome dude in a white t-shirt.
We've infiltrated the cricket community.
Yeah.
Now we're infiltrating the chess community. So
community, right.
all of these niche communities are going to start showing up to Islander games. It's going to be quite the crowd when we got all the chess masters,
the chess masters. I was also thinking, I meant to mention this before when we were talking about Schaefer. Imagine all the people in doctors' offices watching that hour of Good Morning America, being like, "Oh, look at this nice young man getting an award from his dad." Like, what's going on?
I was thinking the same thing, because you said, you're like, nobody watches the NHL award show, but more people watch Good Morning America. I was like, this Kelly Cheeseman was talking about how we have to be like, we got to become younger and like more hip, and I was like, well, instead. What this is going to do is, like, there's going to be a lot of 55 to 70-year-old women who are just like, who are walking into UBS Arena with Schaefer jerseys. I gotta see this guy. Yeah. So and
nothing says young and hip like Good Morning America. Hour 5.
Yeah. Whoopi's coming through. We got Whoopi and the Pope, and boy, I hope when the Pope does come, I hope he sits in the with the people, right? Like he's supposed to, you're supposed, and he gets a good, he's in like a good row where we get some guys dropping some, I don't know, some Long Island pleasantries that maybe we'll get him for a Leafs game.
Yeah,
we can throw some shit on the ice in the Pope's company. Maybe he'll throw some shit at John Tavares too.
Yeah, right. I mean, it can't be a
Judas.
Can you imagine that? Giving a whole sermon about the one team they couldn't play in that night would be the Blackhawks, because he would probably be rooting for Chicago as a Chicago guy. Right. But if it's anybody else, obviously the Islanders would have the Pope in their corner. And I got to tell you right now, if this happens, and I'm going to say this too at the time as well, so I got to make this very clear. Don't lose the fucking game where the Pope is in attendance, please. Please win the game. Like, I get that these guys lose a lot of big games. That's a pretty big one. Don't lose with the Pope in attendance. Like, come on, you got to win the game. The Pope is there. You're never going to see another Pope in an Islanders game. Like,
hey. We've the sports Pope has been to Islander games.
Well, yeah.
Of course. So he was at a playoff game. So which they won. Yeah. Barzell had a goal. He sent me a text that said bingo after he said need him to score.
Right.
So they do well in front of popes. We'll see.
Okay. Well, that's good.
We'll see if they can do it for this Pope, the second most important Pope to ever be in an Islander game.
In case anybody was wondering, if we don't live the name Islanders Anxiety. It's not just a clever name, folks. Mike and I live Islanders Anxiety literally every single day. I am preemptively mad that the Islanders have lost a game in which the Pope has hypothetically arrived and seen the game. Like, the game hasn't happened. This isn't
You're mad
happening.
At Scott Mayfield. Scott Mayfield just turned a puck over in your head with like 2 minutes left, and they didn't even get a point. They didn't even get a point. The Pope is there.
0 for 5 on the power play. The Pope could score on the power play. You guys go 0 for 5 on the power play? Anyway, that's the true Islanders anxiety. We're mad about a game that hasn't even happened. It may never happen, but in any event. Speaking of Islanders and classic Islanders who we've seen play many times, like Matt Barzal. Did you know that there is a New York State Hockey Hall of Fame? I did not know this.
I found out this week.
And why did you find out?
I found out because the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame is doing the right thing. They're inducting Josh Bailey into it.
That is right. Josh Bailey is a Hall of Famer, a New York State Hockey Hall of Famer, and congrats to him. Hey, listen, he is, again, we talked about Anders Lee before being the fourth, leading scorer in team history. Don't forget, Josh Bailey is third in games played for the New York Islanders. It's Trottier, Potvin, and Bailey in that order. He's played more games than some of your favorite Islanders ever have, and that's a lot. And so at first I was like, come on, really? But then I was like, you know what? In terms of a New York-based hockey player, I mean, who's played more games? I mean, there's only a handful of guys who played more games in a New York uniform for any hockey team than Josh Bailey has.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure the Sabres have a bunch of guys too, but like in terms of the Islanders, there's literally just two other guys. And I bet they're already in there, So
right.
I was like, you know what? This makes a lot of sense.
It does, yeah. And I think we'll talk more about Anders Lee as those decisions get going. But anytime I pull up this list, I just crack up because it's Trottier, Potvin, Bailey, Cizikas, Lee, Nelson, and and then Matt Martin in ninth. So I mean, well deserved honor. And speaking of honors too, Brock Nelson. How many times did we joke about now that he's going to Colorado, like people will learn who this guy is. He goes to the Olympics and everyone's like, oh wow, this guy's good. Where did this old guy come from? Like, oh, wasn't he terrible weren't the Islanders terrible? They didn't do anything with them. We never heard of. Was he just drafted by the Avalanche? And first full season in Colorado, wins and gets nominated for a Selke Award.
Yep.
So when we were making all those jokes about Brock Nelson, people finding out who Brock Nelson was after he leaves, I think we were validated. Those the punchlines were validated because of what happened. Which when I saw the graphic pop up, I was like, "What the hell? Is there someone making a joke?" Oh no, that's the NHL account. Posting that Brock Nelson was nominated for a Selke, which just goes to show you how little people pay attention to the goings on of the Islanders. Because I know he's having a great season there and killing penalties, but he did that here too.
Yeah. he did do that here as well. And obviously congrats to Brock. I hope he wins it. That would be amazing. Obviously we're both pulling for him to win the Stanley Cup, in which the Avs are halfway there. And to be, not to get into a whole playoff preview thing, but I kind of suspect them to smoke the Golden Knights in the Western Conference Final, but we'll have to see what happens here. But I saw that too. And I was just like, on one hand, I did think like, did nobody see what this guy did for the Islanders the whole time? But at the same time, generally speaking, while he was an Islander, he was their second line center, which calls for him to score goals, and obviously his defensive play was great. He scored a lot of goals. We talked about this. He was the most consistent forward they had for 6 years, right up until, from the moment John Tavares signed with Toronto to the moment he was traded to the Avalanche, he was their most consistent forward, bar none, season in, season out. And, they were, I don't want to say they were playing him out of position. It wasn't that he was out of position, but he never played the sort of classic Selke Trophy third line center role because the Islanders needed him to score goals. And that's when I started getting mad at the Islanders, because if they had a normal team set up that scored a normal amount of goals, and like I wrote about this at the Patreon this week, this team has not been above 22nd in goals for in like 7 seasons. Like they were fourth in goals for in 17-18, the final season of Tavares, which obviously, they gave up the most goals in NHL history or whatever it was. So, it kind of works that way, but they have not been above 22nd this entire time. It's draining, to be quite frank. It's awful. And guys like Nelson were good, but he didn't have a ton of help. And so like, had the Islanders had a normal offense and like could move him to the third line, not because he was bad, but because that he would have been even more perfect there. Maybe he would have won a Selke Trophy before now, and it reminded me also of Franz Nielsen, who was the same exact thing. Franz was the second line center for the Islanders for years, and he was great. And he did everything they needed to do, and it was just like this guy would have won 6 Selke trophies if this team had people around him that could also score, so he didn't have to score, of which he was good, but he wasn't like, superstar awesome good. They needed more guys that could do that on a regular basis, and maybe he would have been nominated for a Selke trophy in his career. But in any event, that's just, again, more sour grapes and cynicism for me. But I was happy to see this. I hope he wins. I forget who the other two guys are. Hopefully, I'll bring it here.
Cirelli and Suzuki.
Oh yeah. Anthony Cirelli and Nick Suzuki. I mean, I'm assuming kind of Suzuki wins, but this picture here, if you go to NHL.com, I'll put the link in the thing here. This has a sort of a "Don't talk to me or my sons ever again" vibe with Cirelli and Suzuki in between Nelson, with the great temples. But I will always remember Anthony Cirelli as a guy I saw on the draft list and was like, that's a guy the Islanders should draft. Seems like he's got a good profile. I like that kind of the cut of his jib, and he scores goals to knock the Islanders out of the playoffs.
Yeah, you were
now
right.
He can rob Brock Nelson of a Selke trophy. So, son of a bitch. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But anyway, congrats, Brock. I hope he wins.
And that made you mad at the Islanders. I got mad at the Islanders today while watching Everton because their longtime captain Seamus Coleman, who is he's retiring, and so it was his last home match, and they did like this guard of honor, and I just got really mad. It was like, if we don't get to do this for Anders Lee, I'm gonna be really, really mad. And if the reason we can't do this for Anders Lee is because the Islanders traded for Andre Palat and Braden Shed, I'm gonna be really, really, really mad. And so I was, as talking Islanders anxiety, I had to like kind of pull myself away from watching the soccer match because it was making me mad about, once again, hypotheticals with the Islanders, and didn't need that. So, but as I said earlier, we'll get to the Lee stuff at another more appropriate time.
Right.
But
the Anders Lee conversation is for another time, I think.
Yep.
We'll get there at some point, once decisions are made, I suppose. But these guys are all coming up about this time. Bailey is into the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame. Cizikas is coming up on the last year of his contract. Martin's already retired and is Matthew Schaefer's landlord. Nelson might get a Selke Trophy and a Stanley Cup with somebody else before he's, his final 2 seasons. And Lee might not be here anymore after, in a couple months from now. So it's going to be weird, man. We love these guys. But there might be a time when they have to move on, and we might be approaching that time period, which kind of sucks, but also is inevitable. And we have to brace for that as well.
I want to just wrap this part up with one quick point, that's going to blow your mind. That if Matt Barzal, if he comes back to the Islanders next year, plays the 82 games for the Islanders, 84 actually, right? They're extending the season. If he plays the 84 games, he will have 695 games played for the New York Islanders.
Wow.
Depending on how many games Scott Mayfield, Adam Pelech, and Ryan Pollock play. Matt Barzal will be roughly 13th or roughly 14th, 15th, or 16th.
Wow.
All time. He'll have played more games than John Tavares.
Mm.
And a lot of other big names. So yeah, Barzal, he's already played more than Franz Nielsen and Kenny Janssen. So
wow.
Yeah.
And he's 28, right?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, in my mind, he's still, 22, 23 year old.
Yeah,
long hair, living in Dennis Seidenberg's basement. So
perpetually 22. Yeah. So no, it's wild. Yeah. Eventually on these again, and that's what's funny too, is like the older guys who are in the sort of previous generation will age out, but then these younger guys are going to start taking them over. And Barzal is sort of both, he's kind of in that, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but would we be, I know I've said, no, we don't need that, but it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Anthony Beauvillier, before he retires, which, is going to be like probably 10 years from now, does come back and play for the Islanders again. He'll probably climb the ranks as well. But no, it'll be pretty cool. It'll be pretty cool to see Barzal passing some older names. We're going to wrap up this first half here with a tribute. The Islanders lost a member of their dynasty team this week. Paul Boudelier passed away. He was a defenseman on the dynasty clubs, originally from Nova Scotia. Was a very high draft pick and had the sort of unenviable task of playing after Dennis Potvin. And he was never meant to be a replacement for Potvin, but he kind of came up in his shadow a little bit and was a good player. I think he had a bit of a rough go of it amongst some fans for not being Dennis Potvin, but I mean, who is? We send our condolences to his friends and family, and had a long career. Not only did he win a cup with the Islanders, but also was huge in the curling community as well, which I found out via CBC here. So again, condolences to the friends and family of Paul Boudelier. We will pay tribute to him as a member of the Islanders dynasty. We are going to take a break right now and come back on the other side and talk about some stuff we have coming up on the Patreon feed, as well as get into some news from around the league. So meet us on the other side. Thanks. And now a word from our sponsors. VintageIceHockey.com. Over 100 classic hockey logos on t-shirts, jerseys, hats, mugs, and more. Long Island Ducks, Albany Riverettes, Danbury Trashers, Kentucky Thoroughblades, and so many more. Plus a full line of Islanders Anxiety merch with our portion of the sales going directly to the Center for Dementia Research. These incredible items cannot be found in stores, so shop VintageIceHockey.com today. Relax, sit back, and enjoy wine from The Pinot Project. Rosé, Pinot Grigio, or a Pinot Noir that was named a Best Buy by Wine Enthusiast magazine. These wines are delicious, affordable, and available at area wine shops and at UBS Arena. Learn more at thepinotproject.com. And please, drink responsibly. Okay, a couple of quick things before we move on. We put out a great episode of Weird Islanders, the podcast, last Friday with the always great Jenny Berman, talking about Kiefer Bellows. One of the most fun episodes we've done all season long. It was great to revisit that era and the strange and somewhat disappointing career of Kiefer Bellows with the Islanders. Jenny had some really super insightful, comments about that era. And Bellows is definitely the only guy that we talked about on Weird Islanders who connected with our guest via Pokemon. So you'll have to listen to the episode to find out about that. But if you're a fan of the Islanders and Kiefer Bellows and Pokemon and Jenny, of course, you should check out the episode as well. We are again in our alternating episode mode. So there will not be an Islanders Anxiety next week, but there will be a brand new episode of Weird Islanders, the podcast, next Friday, not this coming Friday, but the next Friday. It is a supersized episode, our first ever 4-person episode. We talk about 4 Weird Islanders, and there's a familiar connection with my friend Mike here that was a lot of fun to get into as well. So check that out next Friday. However, Monday, the day you're listening to this, we will be recording our monthly mailbag episode for May. So the call for questions will go out Monday at the Patreon. Get in there, sign up for the Country Club tier. You can ask a question, and you can listen to the episode as well when it comes out on Tuesday morning. Don't forget, become a patron or a member any way you can at patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. Even free. You can join for free. You get our weekly release calendar, and you get entered into our sweepstakes that will be held on July 2nd. You can win a customized Islanders jersey or a varsity jacket from Pinot Project, or you can win a t-shirt or hoodie from VintageIceHockey.com. All you got to do is become a free member. That's it. It's free. You could become a patron too, but free member is fine as well. The drawing will be held on July 2nd. You must be a member on July 2nd. So don't join for free and then unjoin a day later, because that doesn't help. Be a member, join for free. Again, doesn't cost you anything. You get our weekly release calendar and you can join the sweepstakes. So keep doing that. We've already had a bunch of people sign up. And hey, if you like what you see on the weekly release calendar and you want to become a patron, go for it. But all that can be found patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. I'm trying to write a little bit more over there too. I just put up a thing last week. I've been calling them impertinent Islanders thoughts. And I wrote about why this team doesn't score ever. And it's really frustrating. But anyway, it's all happening. Patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. Okay. A couple of things to talk about. just from around the league that we thought were kind of funny. Do we want to start with the now eliminated Minnesota Wild, or do you want to start with the coaching shenanigans of the Toronto Maple Leafs?
No, let's start with the Wild. I think this is we'll close the show with the Leafs. It's always fun to do.
Yeah, it sounds good. So the Wild were eliminated in Game 5 by the Colorado Avalanche, and I thought it was very poetic and a lot of fun that happened. I have said for a long time that I will never believe in the Minnesota Wild until they make me a believer. But I just thought it was really funny, the articles that came out afterwards by Michael Russo and Joe Smith, who also covered the Wild for the Athletic, and it talked about how could they do this? How could they fall apart like this? They were such a, they had a 3-0 lead on the Avs in Game 5, and then they lost 4-3 in overtime. Devastating, absolutely devastating. And I'm just going to read this one part here. We're not going to get into we're not going to do a Wild piece theater here, but I just thought this part was great. The Wild, a presumed cup contender for the first time, acted like pretenders. It showed in their inexplicable faceplant in Game 4 at home, when they had what Marcus Foligno called a brain fog and got arrogant and didn't play their game. And it ended in this epic collapse in Game 5, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. They had the Avalanche right where they wanted them, and then let them rip their hearts out. Why would the Wild be arrogant and act like contenders when they're actually pretenders? I can't imagine why. Is it because they have Michael Russo following them everywhere they go, telling us how great they are all the time? I thought the whole thing was very funny. It was just very funny that, I can't. How can they do this to us, guys? Have you looked at this roster? I don't understand. Hey, Quinn Hughes is great, but come on, really? I don't know. I just thought the whole thing was very funny.
Oh, it's classic Michael Russo, and you collected some notes here, and you want to talk about arrogance. The after they won their first round series, their first playoff series win since I think
10 years.
2015, and they're I think the second time they've done it in franchise history, or third. And one of them was Richard Park, was just scoring overtime winners for them against Patrick Waugh. Wow. That's how far back we're going. He when they won that series, the title was of the article that Michael Russo did was "The Curse is Over. Wild break through first round and feels like more is coming." You're saying more is coming when they're playing one of the best teams of the salary cap era in the next round? Sure.
Yeah.
And in that article that piece you read too, which is great, he mentioned that they had the Avalanche right where they wanted them. Yeah, they were down 3-1 in the series. They were up in this game.
I didn't even put that together.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
They had them right where they wanted them.
Well, I like too that I also found one that was he was talking about before the series started, who has the edge, who's going to win, and he did the classic thing of this was a roundtable article, and Russo said, while the Kings barely tested the Avs, the Wild are already at full speed following their heavyweight battle with Dallas. Yeah, that's a classic. Those guys didn't have to do anything. We had to do all the work. We're ready. We're ready for these guys, and then they end up almost getting swept. At least to Russo's credit, he did call it a gentleman's sweep, which of course is code word for the 5-game loss. But I just thought it was very funny that and listen, this isn't just a Michael Russo thing. We hear this every single week on 32 Thoughts, on other the TNT panels and all this kind of stuff about how great the Wild are, and Jeff Marrick's show about how great the Wild are and how wonderful they are. And all. Guys, we know Bill Guerin is talking to you. We know that you're on the phone with Bill Guerin all the time. And he tells you how great they are. And we know that you all love Marc-Andre Fleury, who is now, a spiritual Minnesota Wild. But I'm sorry, I can't take a team with both Foligno brothers seriously. I just can't. I can't do it. It's just ridiculous that these guys have two guys accomplished so little and gotten talked about so much. Then these guys, you could probably say that about a lot of Islanders too, obviously. But it's just. It's just funny that these two guys, who seem like terrific guys, I gotta say, off the ice, they seem like really, really great guys. But I don't know, man. These guys get talked about like they're, I used to get mad when people talked about Pat Maroon like this, but at least Pat Maroon has 3 Stanley Cups, right? I don't know. These guys can't even get out of the second round, or the first round most of the time.
I know. Yeah. That's it's always they're just like the pet team. People got bored of trying to say the Buffalo Sabres were going to come around, and they moved on to the Wild a few years ago because of Billy Garrett and oh man, say what you want about Bill Guerin, but he takes swings, and they could say that all the time.
Hey, that's one of our GM of the Year finalists
right.
as well.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Along with tough negotiator Pat Verbeek, I saw.
Right. And Chris McFarland, the guy who traded for Brock Nelson. So there you go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And,
and Nazem Kadri, I suppose.
I just was very excited to see that Kyle Dubas wasn't on that list. Because, that definitely got him a little upset. But
right.
Michael Russo, I think, is the perfect example of I guess we'll call it the athletic brain, which is that these longtime newspaper people who were just like crotchety old reporters, and that was their thing. They got hired by the Athletic and realized that, I don't know if it was like the company line or whatever, they started to just become super fans for the teams they were covering.
Yeah.
Which is it's so bizarre to read this kind of stuff from Michael Russo, knowing, 12 years ago when you'd read a Michael Russo article about the Minnesota Wild, that he'd be like, they got to stop signing the Andrew Brunettes of the world and try to bring a superstar to Minnesota. And it would be very, objective sports reporter of that era. And now you see him talking about, basically, I am on the team, like
right.
me and my friends on the Minnesota Wild. So it's, because he's not like a young kind of former blogger who they were like, yeah, we like his work, we'll bring him to the Athletic. He's this is an actual like newspaper reporter who then turned into the quintessential athletic writer. And boy, is it funny that they have two people covering the Minnesota Wild.
I mean, I will never understand how you could have two people covering the Minnesota Wild and no people covering the Florida Panthers. Like, it's just it's just unbelievable to me. And six people covering the Leafs, of course, because you have to. So yeah, it's all out of whack there. But no, you're 100% right. Like, again, it used to be Michael Russo wasn't always like this. Or maybe he was and we just didn't pay attention.
Right.
But it does seem like he's become basically the part of another arm of the Wild PR department. In fact, if anything, he's the only arm of the Wild PR department, because I don't think the Wild do any PR, at least not outside of Minnesota.
Hey,
so
we've already seen one hockey team dive into the Athletics ranks to run their PR to literally run their PR department in Ottawa. So I can't think of a better candidate if the Wild are looking for a president of communications than one Michael Russo. And
that would be amazing.
You could read his biography about Marc-Andre Fleury, the Wild years. He'll probably call it Wildflower, the Marc-Andre Fleury story.
Oh my God, that'd be perfect. Yeah. Forget about the Pittsburgh, Vegas, Chicago eras. We don't need to worry about that. Let somebody else write those books. This is only about the Wild version of Marc-Andre Fleury. But speaking of open positions in hockey executives, the Leafs are in need of a new head coach, because they let Craig Berube walk, which wasn't a given. It seemed for a while that he was going to come back, because Keith Pelly, the CEO of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, and John Chayka, the new general manager of sorts, I guess, and Matt Sundin of the Leafs Matt Sundin department, we're all excited about Craig Berube, talking about what a great guy he was. Well, turns out he got fired, and Leafs fans were happy, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And so they're looking for a new head coach, which isn't unusual for a team these days. But we have an article here from Luke Fox Jukebox. And again, we're not going to give this the full Master Leaf Theater treatment, because we really can't. But it runs down a bunch of candidates for the open position for the Leafs. And, it starts with Bruce Cassidy. Sure, okay, but it sounds like he's probably going to end up going to Edmonton, which makes a lot more sense. They're closer to contention, supposedly, than the Leafs. And then you got Manny Malhotra, popular name, young guy, AHL coach of the Canucks farm club, former NHLer, up-and-coming dude. That makes a lot of sense as well. You've got some other guys, David Carl, who was with University of Denver and has, won a bunch of championships there. That's kind of crazy. He always comes up in these sorts of things. John Gruden is the head coach of the Marlies, which, a lot of times, sure, bring up the AHL guy. That makes sense for a team looking for a new head coach. And I'm looking at some other names here, and right in the middle, this has to be a typo. This can't be real. It says Jack Capuano as a possibility for the Leafs. I'm kidding, obviously. Listen, I liked Cappy. He seems like a good dude. I said he was a better coach than I think a lot of people gave him credit for there. It would be, how absurd would it be for like 10 years after he gets, let go by the, almost, I guess 8 years almost since he got let go by the Islanders, that Jack Capuano become the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who now feature a 35, however old he is, John Tavares at center for them. That would be, no offense to Cappy, this is insane. It's insane that his name has come up here. Because he's obviously an assistant coach. He's with Minnesota now. He's been with the Panthers, the Senators, but like, they can't possibly think that this makes any sense. Like, these guys have shit on the Islanders for so long, and now all of a sudden they're going to hire an ex-coach of theirs to run their team. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like this is a joke, but again, I don't want to make fun of Cappy here, but like, this is a little crazy.
Yeah, it's funny because he's like got a little bit of him and Garth, right? Like, they've got a little Brock, like the Brock Nelson kind of thing we were joking to, which is just because they were Islanders, like nobody kind of gives them the time of day. And like Capuano, I think when I was listening to Kipper and Bourne just kind of talk about how, Justin Bourne has been talking about how on fire, him and Sammy McKee said John Chayka is on fire to start his tenure, which is hilarious because he's done is win a draft lottery, which he's got no control over, and then fire the head coach, who everybody wanted gone, but on fire.
Kipper shut that down pretty quickly.
That was so good.
He's done what? What has he done?
That's so good. And they were like, the average lifespan of an NHL coach right now is like 2.6 years or something like that. And Capuano was with the Islanders for various reasons for 7 and had one of their most successful seasons, regular seasons since the dynasty days in 14-15, and had seemed to be a kind of coach that everyone wanted to play for. And then he just never got another sniff because everyone just assumed, well, he was the Islanders head coach. They probably just like grabbed him out of row 8 in section 212 and we're like, we can't pay, can't pay anybody, so you'll be the coach. And he probably deserves better, and he's been around for a while, but boy, I cannot let this happen. Like, as you said, like, do you imagine him in that market? You know what would make me because it would go one of two ways. One, which is like everyone looking at him like, Jack Capuano, like, this guy, come on. And the other way is he becomes like a cult hero because he's got he's a charming kind of Italian dude from New England. And if he became a cult hero for the Leafs, I would lose my mind. So I can't let that happen. But yeah, I the same way as you, I was like, this is no, we can't have this happen. But Fios Condios to Chief Berube. And speaking about same thing, right? Like with Capuano, if Jack Capuano, just came to an Islander game alumni status, right? They were like, Jack Capuano, former Islander coach, Jack Capuano's here. He would get a rousing ovation, right? He's for his accomplishments.
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you this much: nobody would be booing him.
No.
And if Chief Berube, if Craig Berube did the same for the Leafs, if they're like alumni, coach Craig Berube, he would get booed, which is crazy because they. And I'm not saying he did a terrible job this year with the team. The team was terrible. They were a disaster, and it seemed like he didn't ever think to be like, I got to change my ways, and he to like save the season. He just doubled down on himself. That said, he had a 2-year tenure with the team that had won one playoff series since 2003-04, before he got there, and in his first season, he won them a playoff series, and he won them the Atlantic Division for the first time.
Yeah, right.
And so in one of his 2 years, he did that, and the other one was obviously terrible. And people are talking about this as if it was one of the worst coaching regimes in NHL history. Like, there was nothing redeeming about him. Like, what am I missing here? Like, I would probably be happy if it was the Islanders. I'd be like, yeah, we got to get rid of this guy and move on. But I wouldn't be, spitting on his grave and being like, this guy was terrible. Like
Right.
he gave you guys one of your best seasons ever.
Yeah.
How many times did you guys have to remind us that nobody took the Florida Panthers further in a series than we did, even though we lost 5-1 and 6-1 in games 5 and 7. He did that for you, and you want to just like kick him in the nuts on the way out. So that just why do you think that everyone hates the fan base? You're giving yourself up right here. You're showing your ass a bit.
Yeah, firing him is the easy part, right? Like that's what Nick Kyprios's point was. It was like they won a lottery that they had nothing to do with, unless you count the NHL, I guess. They fired the coach, which was the easiest decision, but they still haven't really done anything hard yet. Like that, we don't know if Capuano takes over a team that is rebuilding, and they've traded Austin Matthews, maybe they've traded William Nylander, and they're starting over again. Then that kind of makes sense because he was in charge of the Islanders during their rebuild, which again, ironically, had John Tavares on it as well. But like, if they're trying to like win next season, which they don't have first round picks in either the next 2 drafts, then he's probably not the right guy. But it's funny to me that like they look at a piece of paper and like, what about Jack Capuano? He's done a lot of work as an assistant coach, with the Wild and the Panthers and the Senators, and they've all been really, really good. Did nobody remember he coached the Islanders? Can any of these guys remember a game that they saw him coach the Islanders for like 8 seasons? He's the second winningest coach in team history. The second most games coached on the Islanders. Like, do you think these guys know that?
No.
They don't. They just see a name and they're like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, because there's another guy on the list here too. Joe Sacco, former Islander, of course. But like he had a terrible like 2 seasons with the Bruins. As like, why is he on the list? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know him at all. Maybe things went badly for the Bruins for a lot of different reasons. I don't know, but like, it's just so funny that like, did nobody remember this guy like coaching another team? Like, it's kind of crazy that they see an assistant coach for a good team and just are like, let's get that guy, without considering that like where he came from. And like, had anybody ever thought about him as a coach before this? Probably not. More candidates to consider, by the way, Peter Laviolette and Gerard Gallant, like 2 other former Islanders connected guys, So it's like, I mean, those guys obviously have pedigrees, and I'm sure that they're into that makes sense. But like, do they make sense for these Leafs though? I don't know. It depends on who's even going to be on the roster. I don't know. My favorite one though, I mean, obviously Capuano is my favorite, but my second favorite one on the list that cracks me up. So the Leafs 2 years ago hired Craig Berube. He had won the Stanley Cup with the Blues. He brings this tough. You talk about tough guys on the bench. I mean, nobody's tougher than Craig Berube. That guy was a monster out there. He was crazy. Again, another former Islander. And remember, he took over halfway through the season, led the Blues to the Stanley Cup. They took on his sort of tough personality. That's what they wanted to bring the Leafs. Doesn't work out. Roster stinks. Everybody's hurt. Whatever. They fire Craig Berube. So who do they think to bring in? How about the guy he replaced on the St. Louis bench? Mike Yeo. That's who was coaching the Blues before Craig Berube took over as coach and led them to the Stanley Cup. I think that might also be the funniest thing ever. Like, well, we just fired this guy. Let's hire the guy who was fired to make room for that guy, which is why we hired him in the first place. And again, the same thing. He's been with the Senators on Travis Green's bench for 2 years. They've been successful. They had a playoff series against the Leafs. And so everybody's like, oh, that guy's great. Has anybody watched Mike Yeo coach the Wild or Blues before this? I don't think so. I don't think they were paying attention to these guys who were behind the bench of these other teams. So he was spectacularly unsuccessful in both of those places before, this stint with the Senators. I didn't even know he was a Senators assistant coach. So it's just so funny to me that this list is like Bruce Cassidy. Okay. Manny Malhotra. Okay. Again, the AHL guy from your own organization. Okay. That all makes sense. And then these guys who are just like names. And it's like, wouldn't you rather have somebody new than somebody who did a poor job 10 years ago for something, and that you didn't even these guys never talked about back then? Like, I can't imagine there was a lot of Leafs fans back in 2015 being like, wow, that Jack Capuano, he's a really good coach. Like, I'm sure Luke Fox Jukebox wasn't doing that. That's for sure. So
Yeah.
I don't know. This is just, I mean, from a guy who, let's be honest, we read a lot of bizarre Luke Fox Jukebox articles here. This is right up there with some of the most bizarre stuff we've ever read. At least everybody's got their shirt on. So that's pretty good too,
Yeah, a tarpless Jack Capuano.
Hey, Lighthouse Hockey readers will remember tarpless Jack Capuano, at least in fiction form, the Shirt Me Dougie era of Jack Capuano.
But yeah, I mean, when they hired the talented Mr. Chayka, I can't remember if it was Doug McLean on Off the Rails Friday was like, this is the best they could do. Like the Leafs, this is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like and now you look at these, the coaches, and there was talk about Bruce Cassidy, and then they're all like, well, we're not good enough for Bruce Cassidy, basically. So they're like, once again, no disrespect to Cappy, because I think he's a beloved figure, but now that they're dumpster Mike Yo, okay, please go for it. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm enjoying the search. I'm also enjoying the discourse about the number 1 overall pick, because look out, now there's some discussion that maybe Gavin McKenna isn't the consensus number 1 overall pick anymore. And so I'm it's fun to watch these guys twist themselves into pretzels over this stuff. It's been still been an enjoyable few weeks, despite them winning the lottery, with the stuff coming out from up there.
I think at the end of the day, the number one thing that we need to remember is that the Islanders hiring Peter DeBoer fucked everything up for them. Like, I think that was the thing. 'Cause I think they all were like focused on, well, if the Leafs just hired DeBoer, then that's it right there. It's a piece of cake. And now they can't. And the next best guy is Bruce Cassidy. And everybody's like, I don't know if he's going to want to come here. Especially when, Edmonton just fired their coach and has an opening. So the Islanders, listen, we don't know what's going to happen with Peter DeBoer, but let's just put it that, there is one silver lining about all this before the guy even does really anything. It's that it really messed up the Leafs off season. So I'll take it so far. I think we could all enjoy that part, but yeah, it's really funny. I'll put a link to this article here too, but it's bizarre. Also, the other big takeaway from this is you need to listen to Kipper and Bourne every day at 4:00, because it is, last week was a tour de force, just absolute insanity, just amazing. One of these days they're going to come to blows. Like, I feel like, I know they're all friends, like they go golfing and stuff, but one day, man, Kipper is just going to be like, you guys are wrong. And he's going to be shirtless, and he's just going to start like hulking out and start throwing punches or something. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's amazing. It's amazing that the conversations they have. And, if you were afraid that Leafs fans were getting too happy about this, don't worry, because real Kipper and Bourne is here to save you from that. The callers, like, what's funny is they do like a Leaf line where like people call in. Those people are all happy, but the guys on the show, they'll find a reason to be unhappy. And we can respect that from here. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot. So this article is obviously insane with all these different coaches that I don't think Luke Fox Jukebox has any familiarity with outside of names on a team directory or something like that. But the What Chaos guys, I listened to What Chaos, the show. I put them on too on YouTube. Great work. DJ Bean, Pete Blackburn, Sean DePaz, they do a great job. Great dudes. They were joking, or maybe not joking, that they want to see Patrick Waugh coaching the Leafs. And Sean, who is the producer, is like, maybe we'll get some cool quotes out of him because he won't be coaching on Long Island. And I felt like being like, dude, he doesn't have any good quotes anymore. That guy's gone. We heard a couple, but nothing that you want to hear, but we heard about being Ducks and Eagles. That was kind of cool. But I was like, oh my God, that would almost be, would that be great? Or, I mean, you talked about like Cappy becoming a folk hero for the Leafs being something you don't want to see. What about Waugh becoming a folk hero?
That'd be too much.
Yeah.
For us and for our ally. Yeah,
he would have a harder road to hoe though, because he's got the Canadians connections.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's tough. I honestly, my hope here is that the talented Mr. Chayka hires basically himself in the coach version. Maybe he does. Maybe he goes full Milbury and does it. But I want him to hire to kind of copy Kyle Dubas's homework and hire the the nerdy looking guy, because I
Yeah.
just can't. I would love for Nick Kyprios to get a
Right.
Dan Muse type up there, and Justin Bourne talking about how like he's seeing things that we don't see, and Kipper
Right.
just being like, "What are you talking about, JB?" But
They've
yeah,
lost 6 in a row.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm seeing good things
God.
out there. What? Anyway, yeah, no, fun stuff. I saw that, and at first I was like, that would be horrible, and then I was like, actually, that would be kind of funny. And they'd be like, oh, look at all the wild stuff they're doing here. No, they're all offense all the time, and then after about 3/4 of the way through the season, they're like, how come nobody can get a save?
Right.
Why aren't they getting saves out here?
Well, that's the thing about Berube too. They were like, this is exactly what we need. We need someone to start doing this, to start playing north-south, simple hockey, like get these guys playing playoff style hockey. And then it didn't work. And they're like, this guy was terrible. What a terrible idea. We need to go back to playing east-west. Like, you guys, man, I would love for them to listen to an episode, do Mystery Science Theater to themselves, listening to an episode talking about like the beginning of Berube and the beginning of Tree Living, and then the end, be like, oh yeah, no, we did drink all this Kool-Aid, and because they're starting to drink the Cheka, not Kipper, but the other two are already starting to
for sure.
get there on board with Cheka already. Man, this guy he's can't do anything wrong.
Yeah. Well, he's on fire.
He's on fire. He might be arrested at like any point. You just never know if this guy's gonna get arrested for like fraudulently doing something with Wendy's. But I actually was going through a Wendy's drive-through yesterday with on our way home from a little day trip to Flushing, Queens.
Nice.
With the family, and we went to Wendy's on the way back to get the girls some French fries because we were stuck in traffic and we needed them to stop yelling. And the whole time I was going through, I was like, I really want to tell Emily about John Chayka's Wendy's. And then we're sitting on the line of the drive-through, and I'm in my head thinking like, God, will she, like, how far into the conversation can I get about John Chayka's Wendy's before she's like, can you shut the hell up about this? So I didn't do it. I'll say that it's like the Anders Lee conversation. I'll bring that up to her at another time.
Some other time. Yeah. That's hard. It's a hard one to broach, like it's one thing to hate another team, but it's another to like, and then the GM used to run Wendy's franchises. What's that? Tim Hortons too. To add another wrinkle, but we are deep in off-season mode here. So all this stuff keeps coming up, but we know there is going to be one great game this week. It's going to be Game 7 Monday night, Habs Sabres. It's on ESPN. Check it out. Gather the family around. It's going to be a good one. Nothing's better than Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like nothing. There's just, no matter what round it's in, Game 7 means everything, and it's just awesome. And then, believe it or not, the Western Conference Final starts on Wednesday. May 20th is the first game against Vegas and Colorado, and then it continues from there. So still got a lot of hockey to go. We will not have an Islanders anxiety next week, but again, we are going to have a Weird Islanders the podcast. So keep an eye out for that. And we're going to have a Country Club Atmosphere next week as well over at the Patreon. And this week, today, Monday, monthly mailbag. So get on over to patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. Sign up for the Country Club tier. Leave us a question, and you could hear the episode. And join any way you can, even for free, to get in our sweepstakes, which will be held on July 2nd. Get yourself a customized Islanders jersey or varsity jacket courtesy of the Pinot Project, or a t-shirt or hoodie from vintageicehockey.com. Our theme song is Morning Haze by Family Dinner. Listen to more of their music on Spotify. Read Lighthouse Hockey every single day for your most up-to-date Islanders news and discussion. Islanders Anxiety Podcasts are part of the Fans First Sports Network. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review where you can. We're also on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube page, because it's pathetic, really, seriously. It's really got like 200 people there. Like, just join. I mean, everybody's on YouTube all the time. Just go to our YouTube page and just join. Make us feel a lot better. That's all you gotta do. It makes us really happy. You don't have to spend any money on us. It's great. Shop vintageicehockey.com. Try wines from the Pinot Project. We've covered a lot here, Mike, including the Pope potentially coming to an Islanders game, which would be huge. Any final thoughts on what we've got going on here so far?
No, not too much. Yeah, do the YouTube thing. Leave us a review. I think we're well over a year since our last review on iTunes too. So you can always drop a review there. But and join the Patreon, all that. It's fun. And mailbag tomorrow. Maybe we'll get some Pope questions. Definitely get some. I'm sure we'll get some stuff about the chess and maybe some Belmont Park Village questions as well, which is our expertise, of course. So yeah, hop on over, leave reviews, sign up at the YouTube, and you'll love the videos we post. There's static images of, or you post, I should say, static images of the four. I love whatever I said. I know some hockey people and they love Master Leaf Theater, and I love sending them I don't send the Spotify. I send the YouTube link, and I just love sending it because of the thumbnail is the Ford Performance Center, and I've never had anyone be like, "Why is it, what the hell?" But I can't wait for the first person to get the joke. So
yeah,
it's a masterstroke by you. It really is.
I had a good time putting that one together. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I love that picture. Yeah, I wanted
that
somebody
picture's
to be
so
like,
good.
What is that? It's the Ford Performance Center. Even though none of those have really dealt with the Ford Performance Center.
I know. It was only there was only one time when Brendan Shanahan couldn't stop saying the Ford Performance Center.
Well, it's the I always try and go for find inspiration in masterpiece theater, and I think that one was more of a Downton Abbey type of thing. Like you got this austere mansion in the rolling countryside. Well, we've got the Ford Performance Center. So anyway, yeah, go to all these things are also at patreon.com too /Islanders Anxiety. So you go there and you can listen to all of our Master Leaf Theater specials as well there. So we will be back in 2 weeks, but Weird Islanders, the podcast, will be back next week, next Friday. Check out the one we did with Jenny last Friday, which is terrific. And if something crazy happens and breaks, we'll come back soon. But otherwise, we will see you in a couple weeks. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. The weather's supposed to be shit. Hopefully it's not. And you guys can all get to the beach, have a barbecue, do some stuff. And if it is shit, go see The Mandalorian and Grogu in theaters near you. Because, it's always good when you see Star Wars in the theater. It's a lot of fun. And if you haven't watched Mandalorian on Disney Plus, go watch that too, because I love that show. I don't know. Everybody loves to talk about Andor, people in hushed tones and robes talking and whispering. It's a little too cerebral for me. I'm kind of a dumb guy, so I like my Star Wars to have lightsabers and blasters and robots and things in it. So I prefer The Mandalorian, but they're both great. Check it out and go see the movie. But otherwise, we'll be back in a couple weeks. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.